Emily, no matter what happens, I'm glad I came with you. Here to the swamp. Was that a good, where are they in this movie? Oklahoma?
Yeah. I think they started in, like, Arkansas? Arkansas. Yeah, something like that.
All I know is they're like, we have to get to Mexico without going through Texas. And she's like, girl, there's simply no way.
Literally.
There's simply...
Get on a boat.
Yeah, right? We're going through the Gulf. We're actually going to go by way of Florida. That's where I want this story to go. To Florida.
And then they go to Cuba.
Yes.
Ugh, I wish. Yeah, no. For as much as Louise really does it for me, I was like, girl, you're not being reasonable.
Well...
Which is not the point.
I felt like she was self-aware that when she says Mexico, she means I'm gonna kill myself. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think there was
Mexico or bust.
Yeah, it was like sort of this air of like, I'm saying Mexico, but we all know that Mexico means heaven. like Mexico means the next step.
Like, if I can get to Mexico, sure.
Right.
But if not,
it's a great...
Yeah, it's like 25%, I mean Mexico, 75%, I mean I'm dead.
I mean I'm driving off of the side of the Grand Canyon.
This was all her major plan all along.
Yeah. She actually just really wanted to die and spent it having a baller weekend with the homegirls.
Absolutely.
Which, honestly, I kind of feel that. I'm like, prison for life or 3 awesome days with your bestie, and then you end it all. I'm taking the latter.
Well, if you ever run into trouble, let me know.
If you want to go on the lam. Want to go on the lam with me, Emily? That's kind of what this podcast is, I fear, is that we're on the lam and we're just running for our lives until something catches up to us. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. It's called SWAMP. It's an acronym.
It stands for some whack-ass movie podcasting.
And we're ending Good Movies Month.
Yeah.
With a good movie, I would say.
Movie.
Had you not seen this before?
I'm horribly guilty of watching like halfway through a movie and then falling asleep. Mm-hmm. I think I get it from my dad.
Oh, that's such a dad quality. It's like, that's why they watch all movies standing up. So they don't fall asleep. That's why he's 10 feet away in the kitchen watching with his hands on his hips. It's because he's like, if I sit down, I'm knocked out.
Yeah. Because the amount of times I've like come down at like 11:30 at night and my dad, first of all, fully slouched on the couch, back across the seat. Entirely. Just legs out a mile into the living room. Eyes closed, just done. Halfway through, like, doubt.
Doubt! Not doubt! That is one you could fall asleep to. Mm-hmm. I will.
Exactly.
Yeah, I will say.
But yeah, I had seen, like, the first probably half of this until, like when Brad Pitt got taken in for stealing their money and being on the run and on parole.
Sure. And so after that, a little more than halfway then, I'd say. That's like a little more than halfway. 2/3.
Yeah, something like that. But I had never finished it. Obviously, I knew kind of what was going to happen.
I was going to ask, did you know? Under a rock. I was going to say, did you know the ending that they drive off of the side of the cliff together? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so iconic that I could almost see it being sort of a Sixth Sense type of movie ending where people are like, well, I know. Why would I watch it if I know? Yeah. But I think it's still worth getting there, personally, but I could see how somebody would make the argument of, like, yeah, I know the thing. Like, why would I watch it? Sure. Ridley Scott, kind of surprised.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was shocked. I mean, I texted you this being, like, shocked that a man did this, and you're like, well, a woman wrote it.
Yeah, so I was thinking the same thing, and I guess content warning for this episode, Thelma and Louise is a movie that involves a lot of graphic on-screen sexual violence. Mm-hmm. And, like literal on-screen rape. Yeah. And the movie's sort of, I wouldn't call it, like, a rape revenge, but just sort of, like, them getting revenge on men, in a sense, for this, like, active sexual violence that happens. So we're going to be talking about that a fair amount. If that's not your jam, you can,
click off.
Yeah. This movie is definitely not for anyone who wants to avoid that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's incredibly graphic to the point of almost, like, excessive. Like, I'm like, did we really need to see... that much, but I guess I'm also a little sensitive to that sort of thing.
Oh,
sometimes I'm like, I just don't think we need to see him enter her.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't need to see the, like, hole. I mean, I would love to see Geena Davis's hole, but just not right now. Not like this. Like, that's not how
like,
if
she wanted to show me herself.
Right.
Yeah. If Geena Davis saw me from across the bar.
And said, hey, do you want to go out in the parking lot? And I would say, yes, of course.
Yeah, we'd be fucking in that convertible.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. I would get
roof down.
I would get her consent, and then we'd be and then we'd be line dancing, as they say.
Oh my god! I'll tell you what, this movie did make me want to line dance.
I've been line dancing.
I'm jealous.
I'm incredibly uncoordinated. I did not do dance as a kid like long enough to retain any of that. I'm super white. I have no coordination. I would say my base level is that I like did band in high school, so I know how to count to music.
Yeah. You have a sense of rhythm,
but like hardly. My body does not really listen.
Your hips don't move the way you want them to.
I academically understand how music works, and yet somehow my body is like, nah, girl, like it's not.
You're holding on to the beat for dear life.
Yes, it's very that. And I was on a work trip down to
was like South Carolina,
of course, and we were in Gaffney, which is where Kevin Spacey's character in that President show.
Oh, House of Cards.
House of Cards. He's like originally a senator from Gaffney.
Oh, Christ.
So
that tells me everything I need to know.
Yes, exactly. And I was down
there. Were you there like for Chick-fil-A promo?
I was down there doing a peach milkshake promo for Chick-fil-A. Yeah. They gave us like t-shirts to wear, and they were like, after this event, these Chick-fil-A t-shirts, if you guys could not donate them, instead just destroy them if you don't want them, because we don't want our brand to have anything nefarious done to it. And if someone finds this at a Goodwill, they will like, you know.
I love it.
Love that. But so I was in Gaffney. This girl at the Chick-fil-A event was like, y'all want to come to One-Eyed Jack's later? And we were like, fucking sure, I guess. And we went, and that shit is so crazy. I swear that these people in their free personal time must learn this choreo.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because there's one that they're like...
You think they're just at the bar often enough?
I guess, but every song has a different dance to it.
Yeah.
With incredibly intricate steps and hand movements and clapping and spinning. And now you have a partner and you're in charge of making sure they do the right thing. It's fucking crazy. I swear, these people are at home, like, rehearsing. And then they get to the club and they show up, and that's like their jam. Because I was like, oh, we are expected to come knowing these dances.
You didn't give me the itinerary.
Right? You didn't give me the step list. But yeah, I was like, I guess I was expected to learn this ahead of time. But it was crazy. Watching 200 people all know precision, locked the fuck in.
Yeah. It's like, I think it's ingrained in their brains, like DNA-wise, when you're born.
I guess there's also, like, when there's nothing else to do, might as well, like...
Well, I would certainly rather be at the bar line dancing than, like, listening to a crowd of men talk about, like, whatever they talk about.
That's true. At the bar, I'd rather be dancing than talking to some man.
It looks insanely fun. Like, if I knew it, I would absolutely go.
When I was attempting to do it, like, during the easier ones, I felt like I was fighting for my life. Like, I really was like, unless I went home, learned this, and showed back up, it's not fun.
Did it feel like when you had to sight read music?
Yes! Oh, the worst. The fucking worst.
And you're like, I'm pathetic, I'm the worst.
I actually don't know how anything works anymore.
I actually don't have control of my body anymore. What's going on?
I also always felt that whenever you had to read out loud in class. Whenever you did popcorn reading, I'm like, suddenly, the English language has escaped me.
Yeah, and then every now and then it's like, oh, say the N-word.
Yes, oh my god, that happens so often. I wonder at what year did that change, right? Kids in public high schools... We live in the most liberal state in the country.
Oh, yeah,
They were like, we're going to read Tom Sawyer, and you're going to say it out loud.
Yeah.
And the teacher's looking at you.
Yeah. In a classroom that is so white.
And it's 2012.
Yeah.
Like, insane. Yeah, I bet they don't do that anymore. But I wonder, at what year was the curriculum, like... My brother was an English teacher.
To Kill a Mockingbird? Right? Oh my god.
At what point are they like, maybe we shouldn't make the kids say this?
Yeah, I'm like 14 and like trying to figure out like at what point I should volunteer to like read next so that I don't have to.
Fighting for your life. That's actually the thing I learned about public speaking that was very helpful to me is when you have to give a speech or you have to give your presentation, you're not thinking about the person who's up there talking. You're thinking about yourself. You're thinking, I'm practicing what I'm going to say. Yeah. I'm really focused on when am I going to volunteer to go? When is it going to be my turn? Yeah. So when you're the person up there talking, Nobody in the audience is fucking giving a shit about what you're saying.
No.
Like, you're other than maybe the teacher, and honestly, probably not even.
Exactly.
In grad school, I was like, yeah, I'll fucking get up there and go first.
Yeah.
Because then I don't have to think about it for the rest of the time.
Exactly.
And I know not a soul in here is thinking about me.
Yep.
They're thinking about themselves. That's why you want to go first, not last.
Absolutely. And if you go in the middle, the people that just went are just wondering if they smell because they were sweating so much while they were up there.
I literally am thinking about my own BO. Yeah. So real. So real. I used to be terrified of public speaking.
I was bad. I would always go and I would have my by the end of like senior year of college, I would take just about a day to cut out like 6 hours. And because I mean, they'd have you doing long ass presentations. I don't know about you. I do like 30-minute presentations for class and stuff like that. I would take like a day to practice the entire thing so that I would know it by heart and that I wouldn't have to worry about stuttering because like I'd have it so down. But also, yeah, that's like where my anxiety came out the worst.
Absolutely. And like practicing talking slow is insane. Even regulating myself for the podcast sometimes, I'm editing and I'm like, girl, why are you... Henry always says that I'm like Tom Nook. Like literal Animal Crossing villager, like, girl, you can just enunciate. Like,
it's okay.
Take it slow. Yeah. But the reason I had brought up content warnings and Ridley Scott is because I was sort of thinking about like how he uses like a rape incident in so many of his movies that I was like, what is this man's fucking deal? Right? And then I was
I'm thinking like, well, I know one of his latest ones, The Last Duel, that's like the crux of it.
Yes. I've never seen that, but when I was researching this...
Well, why would I ever want to watch something with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck in like medieval garb? I'm good. However, Jodie Comer, on the other hand... Ridley
Scott is one of those that I feel like I think of him as sort of on a pedestal in my mind because of Alien.
Of course.
And I'm like, yes, one of the greats. But then I go through and I think of all of his movies I've actually seen. So super fucking mid.
Sure.
Napoleon.
Mid as fuck.
Meh. The Martian. Gladiator.
I did not care for Gladiator.
This movie is gonna give
I'll give it a thumbs up.
The 1984 Apple ad that I for some reason had to watch 9 million times in graduate school. They're like, Ridley Scott did this ad for Apple and it's groundbreaking, and I'm like, okay.
Sure.
I don't know why I added that to the list, but Blade Runner, big no for me. I do not like the original Blade Runner.
Yeah, big rape scene there.
Yep. And then Alien, which is another big yes. So the two movies that are have female protagonists get big yeses from me, but everything else I'm like, no, not really so much my vibe, Ridley. So yeah, I don't really have a great track record with him personally.
Yeah.
He's like really not my favorite. And I think of him as being, one of the all-time greats, but, I guess his work just doesn't always really resonate with me.
I don't think I realized how much Russell Crowe he employed.
Yeah. That's one of his besties.
Yeah.
He's got Russell Crowe on Law.
Yeah.
He also has a ton of random fucking movies I've never heard of before, like
Robin Hood.
1492, a Christopher Columbus movie. Like, what the fuck?
I forgot he did House of Gucci.
Yup, like, so random.
Not a lot of this is speaking to me, honestly, but yes, the fact that both, like, two prominent ones are like, oh yeah, she has to get raped for the plot to be there.
Right, like, I hate that. But so I was kind of looking into this because I was like, what is his deal with this? But then I saw that this movie, the screenplay, is written by a woman.
Sure.
And it actually won the Oscar, Best Original Screenplay.
Great.
She was the first woman to win a screenplay Oscar since like 1930-something.
That's fucking dope.
So in 1992, at the 1992 Oscars.
That's nuts.
Literally insane. And I guess that this movie, it took a ton for it to get made because they're like, yeah, statistically speaking, movies written by women, no. Movies about women, no. Movies with two female protagonists and no male protagonists. So it's like two female leading stories written by a woman. This is simply not going to get made.
No, of course not.
And I guess when kind of made its way to Ridley Scott, he was like, I really fuck with this, but I just like don't think I should make it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, no, like no one else is gonna make it. And if they get, he's like, oh, this just feels like a woman should direct it. And they're like, no, if a woman directs it, a woman already wrote it. And so it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, this is a flop.
They're like, we literally need your penis and your name in order to get this movie off the ground. And
so he was doing charity work.
Yeah, basically, right? But he got into it and he loved the script.
Oh, I'm sure. It's great.
But it is a fundamentally female story, which is why I feel like it speaks to me. And I was kind of like, oh, a man did this? That feels kind of weird. It's like, because it's not really, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, Susan Sarandon and Geena Davis also.
Oh,
I mean,
slay my
powerhouses.
Life. Slay my life. Geena Davis, we're really cranking through her discography.
Honestly, yeah.
Because we every May we do an actor pun of, we've done Paul Mano, Ewan McGregor, and I've always played around with Geena Mavis. But honestly, I'm like, what's left? Stuart Little? Like, what is left of her discography that we haven't done? We've covered all
League of Their Own.
Yeah, like all of her bangers. Essentially, The Fly. This.
Yeah. Why do I always? Maybe it's just because it's Ridley Scott. I always want to put Sigourney Weaver in this trio.
Yes.
Of these three. You know what I mean? Because they're all almost the same to me.
Well, I feel like there's a lot of Sigourney Weaver in Susan Sarandon. I almost feel like if you kind of just squished Sigourney Weaver, like made her a little shorter, that's Susan Sarandon,
right?
Like, compact Sigourney Weaver.
Literally, okay, thank you.
No, I really see that.
Like, I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? It's like that, like, video of, was it Jenna Marbles' man, Julian, being like,
oh my god, he thinks everyone's
Anne Hathaway,
like Jennifer Garner or something.
Yeah, Jennifer Garner, or like Nicole, I don't know who it is. But yeah.
He thinks everyone's Anne Hathaway, and it's like all Jennifer Garner or something. So fucking funny. Yeah, they are really similar.
What's her name? The Blind Side.
Oh, Sandra Bullock.
Yeah. Sandra Bullock, Julia Roberts, and like Anne Hathaway, those three. And I'm like, they're all the same. Which, like, to be fair, I think every single one of these actresses could fill in another one's discography or filmography.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it would still be fabulous.
Well, I believe even for the roles of Thelma and Louise, they were kind of like, yeah, either of you can do either of these.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Like, when they casted them, they were sort of just like, yeah, we just like the two of you. And so it just sort of is what it is.
Choose amongst yourselves.
Right.
Which I'm glad they did end up the way it was.
I really loved I guess you could say it was sort of like a mother-daughter dynamic, but I feel like it's so much more of this thing that happens in all female friendships where inherently one of you is like the mom friend and the other one is like the problem friend.
Yeah.
Whereas like even if you are both typically mom friend types, if somebody always slips into the like, I'm going to take care of you, I feel role, which is, I just felt like we got sort of a very intimate picture of female friendship that we don't often get in movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
I loved the dynamic between the two of them. Well, it's a little gay, but it's also not.
Yeah. That's just women being besties.
Exactly.
Which is inherently a little gay.
Which is like, they don't kiss because they're lesbians.
They kiss because they love each other.
They kiss because they're just two gals being pals. Not to, delegitimize two ladies who want to kiss.
Absolutely.
But I liked their dynamic a lot, and I loved how they costumed Susan Sarandon.
Oh my, the two bandanas, the two tiny little bandanas.
So fucking good. Or just like, she always had the top button done, you know? Mm-hmm. I just really, that resonated with me.
Yeah.
And not to objectify women, but Susan Sarandon has got some honkers on her. Mm-hmm. Susan Sarandon has got enormous jugs.
I feel like I didn't even think of that.
And you don't even think of it in this movie, but I'm always thinking about it. Me personally, I'm always thinking about it, and you can kind of...
You have Susan Sarandon's boobs tattooed on the back of your eyeballs.
Yeah, no, literally. And do you know the picture I'm talking about? She's like in this black dress, and it's like from fairly recently. So she is like 70 years old, but she just looks so fucking hot. If you just Google Susan Sarandon boobs, it will be the first thing that comes up.
Hold on.
And she's just amazing. And I just like that the way that they dressed her, I don't know, in this.
Oh my god!
Yeah, literally insane. She's everything to me. Susan Sarandon got kind of a lot of backlash.
Wasn't there like a video of someone, it was like her daughter being like, can you stop talking about my mom's boobs, guys?
Oh, she's everything. But she was like a huge Bernie bro back in the 2016 election, and a lot of people like turned that on her and were like, oh, because you advocated for Bernie so hard, that's like you were pulling votes away from Hillary.
Oh, shut up.
Kind of thing. But I'm just like, damn. Real ones in Hollywood. Her and Jane Fonda. I need them.
Oh my God.
I need them to link up.
You were talking about how everyone, like, a duo always has a mom friend. I don't think we have that, though.
Yeah.
I think if one of us was in, like, peril, like, the other one would step up.
Yeah, that is true.
But, like, neither of us are getting into
I think we're both,
peril.
we're both baby.
I
don't think either of us are mommy. I think we're both baby.
Your husband is mom.
Yeah, literally, like, off. No.
Like, when we were traveling together, it's you, me, and Hank.
Oh, my God.
But, yeah, no. Susan Sarandon, like, while I love her character so much, every time that Thelma would, like, step up, when it was go time, it was go time.
Absolutely.
And that's what I loved, because I'm, like, sitting there, I'm like, yeah, you're a dunce.
Yeah.
I'm like, Thelma, you're acting dumb as bricks right now. You need to cut this out. But, like, if you need to rob a bank, she'll do it for you.
Oh, so endearing. I found her so endearing, and her costuming as well. Just like
Louise was more for me.
Well, yes, because it's just like logical.
Yeah.
But just Geena Davis, just something about her. She's like 6 feet tall. She's got huge features. Just like everything about her is just insane. She's just like this gorgeous Amazonian woman.
She reminds me of like she reminds me of at the MFA, they have the big giant
the Juno.
Yeah, the Juno
she
statue.
Has no arms.
Yeah. That's Susan Sarandon. No,
that's Geena Davis
to me.
That's Geena Davis. Absolutely. I would love to see Geena Davis play like a giantess in like a fantasy.
A giant woman.
I just got to the part in the Generation V TV show.
Yep.
I'm watching It's like the Boys spinoff where
way better than the actual season of The Boys.
Emma, the girl who usually gets small, she gets big, and Henry and I were like literally got off the couch and we're like, she got big.
Yeah, right.
Just
big and naked.
Something about a giant woman, man.
What else can I ask for? Yeah, thoughts on that show versus this actual season of The Boys? Not to derail for a moment.
Yeah, I thought the new season of The Boys was fine. I think you made a great point.
I thought it was pretty ass.
Where you were like, sometimes I wonder if this show is becoming the thing they're making fun of.
Yeah.
Which I really see sometimes. Yeah. I'm like, oh, you're kind of like, some of the dialogue was so corny, like really hamming it up. I had some great moments as well. It's always unexpected. Like, I love the gratuitous violence of like, yeah, we're going to show a guy's dick explode.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's a great use of CGI. Yeah. I love it. But yeah, comparatively, I thought it was kind of mid. I am hoping the show ends soon. It's kind of overstaying its welcome, I believe. And I think the Gen V show is okay. I'm interested to see how they loop it back in with the show. I think that will make me care a little bit more about next season of The Boys, because it's like, oh, the woods.
You finished it, right?
No, not yet. I'm just at the episode where she gets big, so I don't know. I think we all
no, this season of The Boys.
Oh, yes, I'm done with this season.
Okay, yeah. I thought they did Newman so dirty. That was such a shit way to kill, like, a great character. Butcher, like, is not even a fun villain to, like, hate anymore. Like, Game of Thrones, I loved to hate Cersei and Joffrey. And in the early, like, part of the show, I definitely liked to dislike Butcher. I don't care anymore. Yeah. Like, just kill him off. Huey's a wuss. Starlight, I don't care.
Botched. Starlight botched.
I hate how they tried to make Frenchie so like endearing. I feel like they're just doing that because he's a massive Zionist, the actor.
Yeah. You told me that and I was like, oh, that kind of checks. I feel.
Yeah, like in the IOF like kind of guy.
IDF, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say OF because that's not a defensive force. Those are terrorists.
I've never heard somebody phrase it that way.
Yeah, well, they're just terrorists.
Well, yeah, that makes so much sense. Like, yes, of course it's not defensive. Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. I also hated that they put him and Kamiko together romantically. Finally, I hate that. I love when it's more of we actually get like a genuine opposite gendered friendship without there being this like we want to fuck element. I just think that is so much infinitely more interesting.
Yeah,
So being like, no, but they do want to fuck. Oh, but they are.
There's a better way. There's a better reason to have Kimiko find her voice.
Yeah, right.
Like, trust me. The only thing that saved this season for me was Anthony Starr's portrayal of Homelander. That man fucking locks in. He gets better and better every season. I think it's great. And then Sage. That duo is the only thing that saved this
Sage,
for me.
The actress, she was in Orange is the New Black. She played Tanika, the guard. You don't remember, but she like used to work at the chicken shop with Tasty, and her and Tasty were like, friends at the chicken shop. And then like it's like Tasty's in prison, and now Tamika's a guard, but they have like a rapport. Yeah, super minor character, but I loved her then, and I love seeing her pop up again now.
She crushes. Phenomenal actress. She crushes this.
No, literally, the Homelander actor got Henry and I Googling like the fucking Australian TV shows that he was in like before this, being like, should we watch these?
He's
like
phenomenal.
For this man.
He's phenomenal.
Yeah, so
I think there's
good.
just every now and then I think there's a handful of roles that people are like made for, and he has consistently impressed me for the last like 5-6 years or whatever, however long it's been on.
Nicole Kidman's singular twin son as
dude, the poor kid, his poor puberty voice.
Oh yeah, they're just putting him on blast.
I know. Well, he's putting himself on blast too. He was like, I can't believe this is out in the world forever now.
Of course, yeah. Which it's really like, it really only is like a 3-month period when it's that bad, and they just caught him
at the right time.
Just at the right time.
Yeah. I feel like if Geena Davis was a superhero, none of this would have happened.
No, well, of course not, because she would have just killed Daryl. She would have just shot lasers out of her eyes at him, as she should have. I guess if you haven't seen Thelma and Louise, a incredibly brief recap is that Thelma, played by Geena Davis, is married to this guy named Daryl. In the South, I believe you can say the name Daryl with as minimal syllables as possible.
Daryl.
Like, you can really get it down to just like a guttural Daryl. like you know what I mean, right?
It's a fun one to yell too. Daryl.
But he's a bad husband. We don't see him ever like hit her, but it is implied that he's a little rough with her, and also a serial cheater, never home.
Yeah, would definitely give her like an STD without saying.
Yes, and like expects her to just stay at the house while he works, and she needs his permission to leave the house, that sort of thing. So very toxic, abusive relationship. And Thelma's like, hey, I want to go on a trip with Louise. Her like boss has a lake house that they're going to use. And she's like, all right, I'm going to go. And Louise is like, hey, you need to ask your husband so that he doesn't get pissed. And Thelma's like, haha, no, I'm not going to do that. So they just go. They put on their little... This movie really made me think about like the romanticization of driving. I feel like media and like me, you know, locking in and listening to my podcasts and shit now has like taken away of like when I want to be in a convertible with a little scarf around my head.
It's the scarf around the head.
And my big sunglasses, looking like Patrick Swayze in Tu Wong Fu. Like, that's everything I want and more. And I just like, I'm never going to have that because I drive a Subaru Outback and I'm going to lock in and listen to my like D&D podcast. Like, I'm just not going to have that.
I know. They have like the most beautiful shot of them like gabbing in the car, like singing along to some songs, like post killing a man.
Right. That's a true capture of what it's like to be with the girls.
Exactly. But I was like, what I would do to be able to drive across the South
with Susan Sarandon and Geena Davis. But they take a pit
sipping
stop,
bourbon on the way.
Right? The wild turkey nips. Don't get me started. But they take a stop at this like line dancing bar to grab dinner. I'm like, this place does not serve food. Like, they have chili. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Thelma is trying to unwind. This is the first time she's been away from her husband in 10 years or something like that. So she's having a time.
She's dancing. She's drinking. She ordered like a double shot of something and a mixed drink. Like she's sending it.
Oh yeah.
And she starts flirting a little bit with this guy who's being a little aggressive. You know, he's coming over being like, let me buy you girls drinks, let me take you dancing, whatever. But she's like just going with the flow, being friendly, that sort of thing. Obviously, she gets a little too drunk. He takes advantage of her. He pulls her out into the parking lot and begins to assault her. Thelma comes out and with a gun Or Louise comes out with a gun and is like, hey, please stop
Get off of her.
Stop raping my friend. And he's like, what are you going to do about it? And she's like, I am holding a gun. And he says, what are you going to do? Shoot me? And she's like, well, yes. Well, yes, I'm going to shoot you. Because he gives her the most fucking, like, yeah, what are you gonna do with that gun you're pointing at me? Like, sir, you need to back down.
She has your life in her hands right now.
And then she fucking pops him right in the left ventricle.
Oh, yeah.
Directly into the aorta of his heart.
Yeah, he dies instantaneously.
World's smallest bullet wound. She just fucking hit it. No blood.
Well, that's the thing. She was ready to walk away. She was already walking away, and he goes and yells, "Suck my dick!" And that, you know what? That's all it takes.
Right.
That's all it takes to make a woman snap sometimes. Because I would have done the same thing.
And then they go on the lam. And they're like, no one's gonna believe you, Thelma. And Louise is very pragmatic about it because, as we learn later, she has had a similar situation in Texas,
which is why she didn't want to drive through Texas.
She does not want to go through Texas. And she's kind of like, no one's gonna believe you. All those people in the bar saw you dancing with him, and even though, yes, he did assault you, and yes, it is entirely true and what we did is valid, of course no one is gonna back us up. No one in the system, the cops, like, this is not gonna go the way we want it, so we need to run.
Even though this film paints, like, Harvey Keitel, the main cop, like, very much as wanting to help. That's all he keeps saying the entire movie is, I want to help you girls, I want to help you girls, I believe you, blah, 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 blah. Just a weird, I mean, obviously it was like 1992 or whatever. Like, no, we're not calling out cops saying they're bad yet.
But I do believe it was valid in continuing to reiterate Thelma and Louise's decision to not trust him. That he does seem so, no, you just need to tell me the truth. You just need to show up. I just want to talk to you. That's not ever true. A cop doesn't ever just want to talk to you.
No, if a cop is trying to be your friend, don't trust them.
Yeah, this movie, I think, was kind of low-key ACAB. Specifically with the treatment of the cop they make get in his own trunk.
Love. Oh my god, that was like my favorite part of the movie.
And then there's this scene that I think on a practical level could have been cut, but I'm really glad that they left it in.
I loved it so much.
A biker. The black biker who comes around and sees the cop in the back of his truck.
He's
smoking a joint, and he blows the smoke into one of the bullet holes, and he fucks off. And that doesn't necessarily add anything to the story, but I think it reiterates the general theme of, like, why would you participate in a system that's set up against you?
Yeah.
Right? Thelma and Louise, why would you trust Harvey Keitel? Why would you think any of this is going to go any way than it always goes the same way?
Exactly.
Right?
Thank God for Louise for saying, no, fuck off.
Victims always get blamed. Cops are always bad, right? And so it's the same thing, Thelma and Louise. It's like, this biker, why would he help this cop?
Yeah.
Cops systematically are horrendous to people like you. Why would you participate in this, like, which I think is a better message than I would have originally given this movie credit
for.
Whoa, oh, hi there, Jen. Here you are to do Chocolate or Vanilla, your interim podcast segment where you say two things. We all say which one we like better. Jen, how are you today?
I am pretty good. How are you guys?
About the same, I would say.
Not bad.
I have to pack for a vacation, and that's always a weird feeling, because I want to pack my toothbrush now, even though my flight's not for, like, 4 days, you know? I'm like, no, but I need everything to be packed, because I have, like, that kind of anxiety.
That's the stuff you use that morning is always a pain in the ass. You know what I mean?
And I don't even use that many things, but I'm still freaking out about it, you know? But is there a theme this week?
There is. There's nothing you can't buy at CVS, by the way.
That's true.
Yeah. They'll have Walmarts there.
There's nothing you can't buy at CVS. This is actually a paid placement advertisement. At CVS, you're welcome. There's nothing you can't get at CVS.
Our first sponsor,
So there is a theme for Thelma and Louise. This is a music round, and it's girl power.
Girl power.
Love. All
right. So chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Vanilla.
Chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry?
Chocolate.
I'll say strawberry today.
Me too. I'll say strawberry. So first one is This Girl is on Fire, Alicia Keys, or Confident, Demi Lovato.
I would say Alicia Keys girl bossed a little too close to the sun when she said no makeup is makeup. I don't think that was okay for her to do.
It's okay for her because she's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's fine for her, but she doesn't have to make it a thing. She doesn't have to make the clean girl aesthetic a thing. I don't like it. I don't want it. So I'll go for, actually, but song-wise, I will say that is a better song. This Girl Is on Fire versus, what's the Demi Lovato song?
Confident, like, what's wrong with being confident?
No, nothing. If it's not from Camp Rock,
couldn't even tell you.
I don't know it.
Yeah, agreed. I'm gonna have to go Alicia Keys on this one for that same reason.
All right, I will go with Alicia Keys also. Next one is No Scrubs, TLC, or Wannabe by Spice Girls.
Wannabe by the Spice Girls. Yes.
Easy. Yeah, that's like a best song ever kind of thing, so.
It is.
No Scrubs is good, but
No
Wannabe
Scrubs?
is...
It doesn't come close compared to Wannabe.
Alright, I'm gonna go against you guys though and say No Scrubs.
Alright.
Next one is Run the World, Girls Run the World, Beyonce, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, Cyndi Lauper, or Glamorous Life by Sheila E.
Glamorous Life by Sheila E. Not the Prince version, the Sheila E. version. The 9-minute version, not the 2-minute version. Yes. Love Sheila E.
Oh, I don't know the Sheila E. one, even though I do love her. I think she's iconic. I'll say Run the World, I guess.
Yeah. I'm going to say Glamorous Life. I think that was a go-to song for Estera back in the day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then next one is 2 Cher songs. If I Could Turn Back Time or Believe.
Oh, Believe. That's so hard, though. You also played a lot of Cher, I feel, in the car back in the day.
Maybe.
I'm going to have to go Believe on this one as well.
Yeah, I'll go with you guys. Next one is I Love Rock and Roll by Joan Jett or Love is a Battlefield by Pat Benatar.
Love is a Battlefield by Pat Benatar.
Love me some Pat Benatar. I think I Love Rock and Roll is kind of corny, and I know that Joan Jett is a pioneer, but it's just not for me. But my mom raised me on Pat Benatar, so yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Next one is Rehab by Amy Winehouse or Feminine by Chappell Roan.
Oh! No! Not pitting Chappell Roan against Amy Winehouse.
She just put a gun to my head.
Yeah, let's split the votes, I'll say Chappell Roan.
I'll say Amy,
Okay. Yeah, because we gotta split the votes. It's too controversial.
Well,
they both
she's
have
on
to
her
win.
Yeah, Chappell's on her way to being as iconic as Amy Winehouse, but not quite
She's
there
not
yet.
there.
She will be. I know she will
I'll go
be.
Chappell Roan to tip the scales. Next one, We Are Never Ever Ever Getting Back Together, Taylor Swift, or I Don't Give a Bleep, Dua Lipa.
Dua Lipa has a song called I Don't Give a Fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know any Dua Lipa music is for Marshalls. I'm sorry. It's great. I love for it to be on the top 40 wherever it's playing, but I don't know anything about that. But I will pick Dua Peep. Yeah, Taylor Swift is not a girl boss. I'm sorry.
Taylor Swift is a fucking monster. I think she's horrific. So I'm gonna say Dua Peep as well.
Dua Peep, because they're taking up the same amount of private jet gas because Dua Lipa's on vacation every weekend. Dua Lipa's flying just as much as T-Swift. We just don't know.
I think it's like known that she flies like
economy.
Yeah.
Love Dua Peep.
So I don't give a fuck. She could be on vacation 360 days out of the year.
I just saw a post that said that her boyfriend, I don't know his name, but he's like a British actor.
Callum Turner.
But that he looks like the two boys from Challengers mushed together.
Yeah.
Which I
I'd say
love.
that's accurate. Yeah.
What is he in?
No idea.
Next one is Fighter by Xtina or Respect by Aretha.
Aretha.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say Aretha on this one.
I will go with the OG Aretha too.
Aretha originated girl bossing. Like Xtina may have perfected
literally.
it, but Aretha originated it.
Yeah. Next one is We Got the Beat by the Go-Go's or Manic Monday by the Bangles.
Ooh. We Got the Beat by the Go-Go's. I like that one.
Yeah, Manic Monday does not do it for me. It's one of those songs that kind of rubs me weird, so I'm gonna go We Got the Beat.
I will go with you guys. Last one. Stand Back by Stevie Nicks or Express Yourself by Madonna.
Stevie Nicks, I must say.
I gotta say Express Yourself.
Ooh, a little
nice.
Madonna. Jen, you're a big Madonna fan, right?
You know what? I wasn't a huge Madonna fan, but I have told this story that I did see her in concert, and her voice was gorgeous.
I
Like,
bet.
Probably the best thing I've ever heard. Like, it was amazing how good she was. I saw her at Foxborough with my work friends one summer, and it was a really good concert, even though I wasn't like a huge Madonna girl. And the second best thing I've heard in real life is Catherine McPhee in Waitress, Dara.
Yes, Catherine McPhee, who came in like 4th on American Idol, then went to Broadway and was like in Waitress. And Jen and I saw her on her like last show before she signed off to do some CW show or something.
Of course.
No, it was
yeah.
the last show of Waitress. They were stopping the production, remember?
Yes.
And her voice was same, absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, like moved
Crazy.
to tears to be in the same room kind of thing. Yeah, for sure.
All right.
And that's it for Girl Boss Music Chocolate or Vanilla.
Well, I'm feeling
Amazing.
more and more like a girl boss with every second that this call passes by. Jen, thank you so much for being here and for giving us some lovely options. I couldn't believe you put that gun of Amy Winehouse versus Chappell Roan to our heads. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was brutal. Truly brutal.
But we love you.
I love it when I say something and you guys think you think you're gonna say it, and then I throw the second one in and you're like, no.
The live
Totally.
react. The live react of the second plane hitting the tower is like, no! Oh, well, thank you, Jen. We love you, and we'll see you next week.
All right, I love you guys. Have an
Bye.
awesome night.
Bye.
Love it. But they go on the lam, but they run into Brad Pitt, JD. And JD rocks Thelma's world. He says, Geena Davis, you've never been dicked down once in your life. Your husband does not perform in any capacity, in any sense of the word. And he's like, and I have 0% body fat, so let's get to romping in the sheets.
Did he do it for you in this?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, no.
Too skinny.
Very skinny.
As I also age, I find myself finding men who look too young to be like a turnoff kind of thing, which also makes me think about how like all 50-year-old men only are attracted to 20-year-old women.
Disgusting.
But like as a woman, I'm like, no, it's actually super normal to like as you age to sort of age out of things. Like I don't think 18-year-olds are hot. Like
No.
duh. Like
You know what I
duh.
think is hot? James Gandolfini.
Oh my god, do you know who I think is hot? Michael Madsen in this movie. Oh, Jimmy, Susan Sarandon's boyfriend. He's also in Kill Bill. He plays Bud.
Yeah, he was pretty hot.
Jump scare, so good. And I liked this sort of development of their relationship, not to jump around too much, that Louise has this boyfriend, right? And he's sort of maybe
Long-term boyfriend. Long-term, low-commitment boyfriend.
long-term, low-commitment side piece, yet marriage is on the table, but we don't live together. Maybe we're just co-workers, but it is like it's a life partner sort of situation. And
best head of your life situation.
Maybe involved in some like shady business. We don't really know, but she's basically like, hey, you're going to wire me a bunch of money and then never see me again or ask questions. And he's like, well, yes. And so he does it, but instead of wiring the money, he shows up and he's like, hey,
by the way, I love you.
And she's always kind of like hot and cold with him.
Yeah.
Where she's always like, no, I don't trust you. And he seems so fucking cool and down to help her that for a good part of the movie, you're like, why is she so iffy? And then he sort of hits a breaking point. He slams a bunch of stuff around. He knocks a bunch of stuff off the table.
Yelling,
he gets very
screaming,
frightening. And you understand of like, oh yeah, he seems so down because this relationship is so hot and cold. I like that we got these two versions of these bad relationships, these two pictures of like, yes, of course, Thelma's is on paper, everyone can recognize it, but Louise's is a little more like, well, why wouldn't you just be with him? Like, no, he is unpredictable and scary, and that's like how a lot of men are.
Yeah, that's not a perfect man.
Yeah, and I don't know, I think a lot of people don't like are sometimes willing to overlook that of like, no, but he is there for you and he is going to support you and help you, but like, no, it is a problem, and she is right to be like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
Goodbye. Because she sort of leaves her life behind, and then Thelma as well is like, I can't go back. There's this moment of no return where they're like, we need to drive off the cliff.
Yeah.
Where it's the end of the road, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So much dust.
Whole lot of dust.
A lot of dust in this movie.
Yeah, they had to be drinking that bourbon with their whistle, because I mean, you got grit in your teeth. Besides that,
no. Brad Pitt's character, he comes in. He gives Geena Davis the first orgasm of her life.
Ride of her life, yeah.
A plot-altering female orgasm. Where she is now like, I'm a new woman.
Yeah.
I'm a different person.
I will never return home.
Exactly.
To Daryl.
And he teaches her, or gives her a demonstration of like how to stick up a bank or a liquor store or whatever. And she then later performs the same speech and robs. So now they have a murder as well as a robbery.
Yeah.
They then also kill a truck driver. Or they don't kill the truck driver.
They blow his truck up.
They blow his truck up, yeah, and leave him stranded.
Which I loved being interwoven. They're basically like on the same route almost, and they keep running into this guy, and he just keeps like sticking his tongue out, doing obscene shit like towards them the entire time, and they basically get him to pull over, and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna fuck you, baby, or whatever.
Right.
And they immediately blow up his tank full of oil. And that's just iconic.
In that series of events, this time around, the thing that really stuck out to me for some reason was that Geena Davis is wearing a t-shirt that has the Confederate flag on it. During this whole stretch, basically from where...
I didn't even notice.
Right, it's pretty subtle.
God.
So, like, Susan Sarandon has her cute little bandana, and they're both sort of in their, like, on-the-road outfits, where they're like, we're a little dusty, we're a little dirty. Yeah. And Geena Davis is wearing this cutoff of this tank top, and it's a black tank top with, like, a skeleton on it. And it's got a Confederate flag on it. And I'm like, this whole series of events, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it's never addressed, but I'm like, I get that they're in the South, but also, like, why? Weird detail. Didn't love that, but they get his ass. And it's pretty nice. And that's when they're sort of like, crime is actually awesome. Yeah. Fucking up men is so fun.
We should actually do more of this.
Now that I want to end it all, I'm really just going to go for it.
Yeah, we might as well.
Which, committing to the bit, I think, is another lesson that this movie can teach us, is that you gotta go balls to the wall.
Absolutely.
Correct. And then Harvey Keitel is there. I think typically these two women would never have been identified or followed this quickly after the event if Harvey Keitel had not been on that team, because that is a man who simply is the best in the biz.
Absolutely.
Anytime Harvey Keitel is on my screen, I'm like, oh, so this crime is getting solved at a 10 times speed. Because he's here.
Expedited.
Right? The waitress is like, yeah, these two women were here, but like they don't really seem like they would have done anything, so that's it. And then that's usually where that would end. But Harvey Keitel's like, no, I'm a paid actor who's here to be the best cop.
Do you think if they just went to the cabin, everything would have been fine?
Right. Actually could have been pretty fire.
I feel like that might have been the best thing to do.
It's like, in retrospect, I didn't need to freak out that much, right?
Yeah.
It's like me all the time. I'm like, yeah, thinking back, I probably could have just finished the task at hand and it all would have been fine.
Exactly.
And yet I'm like spiraling.
No, this exact scenario though is like what I have stress dreams about. It's usually like I've been framed or I'm someone's accomplice in a murder.
Right.
Or whatever. I love you. Never ask me to help you cover up a murder. I will I will break so fast. I do not have the capacity to lie at such a grand level.
No. I think we both have like the same kind of Catholic guilt where like for some reason I'm like, I'm bad at lying. I have a low pain tolerance. I just want to take a nap. Yeah, I mean, I also
I'm going to be sweating so much that it's just going to give it away so fast.
Right. Yeah, all the like classic signs of like, you look up and to the left when you lie or whatever. Like I actually for real do that every time. I have all of the textbook signs of a liar. Yeah. My body goes into that mode.
Exactly.
I'm awful.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I could never be one of those celebrities that goes on and does the, like, Vanity Fair, like, lie detector test. Don't ask me to do
Those are so fake, though, because I remember in high school psychology class, like, the first day, the first thing that we learn is that lie detector tests are not real. Like, they're like, yeah.
It's all based off of, like, your heart rate, which can mean anything or whatever.
It's like...
But apparently, and this is a fact that I got from May Martin, May Fact, from the Handsome Podcast.
Love the Handsome Podcast.
Huge fans of the Handsome Podcast.
Handsome Podcast. Fortune Feimster, please, I'm begging you.
But apparently, I learned this from them that apparently, one way to like kind of cheat a lie detector test is to clench your butthole.
Clench your butthole really hard, yeah,
the entire time,
and it'll regulate your breathing. I actually, speaking of public speaking, the same thing for public speaking.
Really,
if you get up and you're nervous, if you focus all of your physical energy on clenching your butt cheeks as tight together as you can, you will actually, it'll physically regulate all of the signs of anxiety because you're focusing so much on
your butthole.
On your, yeah. It's, I believe that. Thank you, Mae Martin.
Yeah.
But yeah, lie detector texts. Lie detector tests are not real, so I simply would not engage with that, I don't think.
Yeah, fair enough.
But they do get Thelma and Louise. They find them, and they have a car chase, and they say, let's have a little smooch, and let's go. And I guess originally...
Very a Let's Go Girls moment.
Let's go, girls. But I guess originally they were like, well, maybe Louise pushes Thelma out of the car to save her, right? That she's going to be like, no, you need to, and she's going to do it. And then I believe it was Susan Sarandon who said, no, in real life, they would kiss each other on the lips and then drive off the cliff together. And Ridley Scott was like, yeah, okay, like, sure, I guess that.
And she was right.
Yeah, and she was correct for that. And that's why this movie's so iconic. If she had saved her, I think this movie, that takes an entire star.
Yeah.
Entire star down.
Yeah. It just doesn't make sense. But this is, you go down with your ship.
Mm-hmm.
That is your girl. Right. Truly ride or die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then do we want to get into our regularly scheduled programming for the episode? I feel like fuck, marry, kill.
Harvey Keitel and then
Thelma Louise, Harvey Keitel. We don't want to. No Jimmy, no Michael Madsen, no Daryl. Wait, do you know Daryl? The actor who plays Daryl, Christopher McDonald, is the voice of Kent Mansley, the FBI agent in The Iron Giant.
Really?
Yeah, a little connect from
interesting
from 2 weeks ago. As I was doing my obligatory IMDb scroll, like, why does this name look really familiar? I'm like, oh, because 2 weeks ago we covered Iron Giant.
Nice.
So wild little connection there. No, leaving him out. Yeah, I guess Thelma Louise, Harvey Keitel.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Should we do Brad Pitt?
Brad Pitt,
because we're obviously gonna kill
him.
Yeah, we're gonna kill Harvey Keitel. So let's put Brad Pitt.
Okay, I'm also gonna kill Brad Pitt, obviously.
Yeah.
Because he's a little thief too. He's a little thieving little bastard.
Yeah.
I guess just doing what he's got to do to get by. But I mean, of course, he's incredibly charming. But I unfortunately don't have a great ability to separate people from like actors and characters from their real selves, right? Brad Shits is awful. So I'm always just like, you're just like not chill and I don't like you anymore and I just like can't really respect like I don't
like men that choke their wives.
Right. Yeah, that's like not chill. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna kill him, but also because his character is just like I don't care.
Sure.
And then I'm
digging that good.
I think I'm obviously gonna marry Louise because I do need that kind of structure and I want to share a closet with her. I just loved her style. What do they keep calling her? Uppity hairdo? They're like her little tight uppity hairdo.
Yeah, something like that.
I want her to snatch me like that.
I want her to boss me around.
Right.
You tell me what to do, mama, and I'm doing it.
And then I'm gonna fuck Geena Davis instead of Brad Pitt.
Well, yeah, she's never gotten her pussy ate, right? So I mean, you're really gonna rock her world no matter what.
And she's just 6 feet tall. Like I just want her to kick me in the stomach.
You're gonna climb her.
Yeah. I'm like fully have her 5. She's a foot taller than me.
Yeah. She could carry you around on her hip like you're a baby.
Yeah. Oh my god, I would love that.
I think I'm gonna agree with you on both of those fronts. Yeah, I don't like how like flighty and kind of like spacey Thelma is. I think we would have a lovely fun night together. Mm-hmm. I would introduce her to pickleback shots.
She would love a pickleback. Rest in peace, Thelma. You would have loved pickleback shots.
And yeah, Louise, I will do anything for her. Mm-hmm. On my knees.
Rest in peace, Louise. You would have loved Venmo.
Truly. And then what are you gonna eat and drink with this movie?
So I just ripped straight from the film The opening scene where we're sort of introduced to Thelma, she's talking on the phone to Louise, who's working in the diner.
Yeah.
And she keeps walking over to the freezer, putting the chocolate bar she's eating into the freezer, closing the door, continuing her phone conversation, and then she continues to go back and pull the bar out of the freezer, take a bite, and put it back in.
I love it.
So fucking funny. And then, like, half an hour later, she's in the car, and she pulls out another chocolate bar that's, like, half eaten. And I'm like, bitch, is this the same chocolate bar?
I hope so.
Because it's the same chocolate bar you've just been, like, casually munching on.
Queenie.
Love. So I think you put some candy bars in the freezer. One of the most superior ways to eat, like, a Twix or Snickers.
What's your ideal frozen one?
I like a frozen.
And you put it in the freezer or just the fridge?
I like the freezer sometimes. I like the freezer for Reese's. Reese's, it gets, like, almost hard.
Yeah.
And you can kind of gnaw on it. Because I'm kind of like a dog that needs to eat off of one of those.
Like rawhide? Where you're, like, munching on it till it gets soft and it's like a...
Right, yeah. No, you know,
it's like one of those it's like a rag almost.
No, like, dogs have to eat off of those plates that, like, make them eat slower. Like, I need to, like, freeze my candy bar so that I, like, gnaw on it, like, over the course of, 10 minutes rather than, like, inhaling it.
Yeah, sure. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I do also love a Girl Scout cookie in the freezer. That's pretty supreme. But I think, just a classic, like a Snicker. I love the ice cream Snickers that they make.
I like the Twix ones.
Very good. But just a classic, I think, a Twix bar in the freezer, so good.
See, the freezer's a little much for me.
You like the fridge, though?
Yeah, I like the fridge. Well, I just don't... I've definitely chipped enough teeth and I've had enough fillings.
Yep.
I don't need to have any more dental problems. And if I start gnawing on something out of the freezer...
If I start chomping...
who's to say what happens next?
Are you an ice chewer?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's got to be the right size, though.
Yep.
Like...
Nugget ice is supreme.
Nugget ice supreme, obviously. But, like, if it's a cube of ice, I'm talking, like, it's got to be, like, halfway melted, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I've more recently become an ice chewer. So...
And then I think you should have a wild turkey nip. Just
one?
No, I mean, I think you should have 5 or 6. I think you should do it as they do it. But
as she's drinking,
I love she's adding them to her order at one point. He's like, do you just want the big bottle? She's like, no. She's like, I want the nips.
She's right.
Because she's on the lamb.
Of course, she's on the lamb.
She's on the lamb. So I think, wild turkey nips and a frozen candy bar. I think it's perfect.
I think that's, pretty good.
What about you?
The diner scenes in this really stuck out to me. And I was thinking about what I would love to feed Louise after, like, a long day or night on the road.
Yep.
I want her to sit down with steak and eggs and a big, giant hash brown. So I think you do that.
Yep.
Some real, like, southern, Texas.
The same Texas.
Yeah, sort of food. And then she was also drinking the thing she wanted when they got to the Roadhouse bar. Margarita. And I think you give her a spicy margarita with a little tahini rim. And I think she'd eat that shit up. And you know what? I think that sounds like an ideal. Yeah.
We're having our first date at 2 a.m. at the diner because we're on the lamb. Yeah.
We're on the lamb. So that's what you do when you're on the lamb.
They meet Brad Pitt, and he's like, oh my god, no way, I'm on the lamb too. That's crazy. Let's link up.
And then what are you going to watch after this?
So, like, low-key, not to just be, like, a shameless self-plug for our own podcast for next week's episode.
I also thought the same thing.
I for real think you should watch Raising Arizona because this movie's kind of Looney Tunesy.
Yeah.
That movie is legit a Roadrunner comic, right? So I think it's the vague Looney Tunesy kind of we're in the desert energy of this movie is like that multiplied by 1,000,000 in Raising Arizona.
Absolutely.
So I do think you should watch that.
Yeah. I'm also going to go for one that is 2 girls committing crime.
1 cup.
2 girls committing crime out in the desert. I'm going to say Love Lives Bleeding.
I thought you were going to say Drive Away Dolls.
No, I do love, but they didn't really commit any crimes.
That's
you know what I
another.
mean?
That's also the Coen brothers, right?
It is another Coen brothers. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, they stay making.
Those bitches are in the desert.
They love sand and they love dust.
Mm-hmm, that's for sure.
Those Coen brothers love a little bit of dust.
But yeah,
Love Lies Bleeding is now streaming on HBO Max,
exactly,
I believe.
yep.
You can
Go
watch
check it out.
and you can also listen to our bonus episode about Love Lies Bleeding. Oh my god! Speaking of giant women, not to spoil, but
yeah.
love me a giant woman. Yeah, Love Lies Bleeding. That's a really good.
Yeah, doing crime in the desert.
Yep.
You guys love each other, kind of getting away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say if you like gay movies, Kristen Stewart or Thelma
Big
and
women.
Louise, you definitely should go watch Love Lies Bleeding over on HBO Max. We both really enjoyed it.
I think also it's holding men accountable.
Absolutely.
So I think
holding
that's,
Ed Harris accountable.
Exactly, yeah. And enough interlocking themes that I think that's a good
Holding Dave Franco accountable.
Yeah.
Really important stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then what are you gonna give this out of 10?
8.
I'm gonna give it an 8. Yeah, I think
Strong
it's
8.
textbook, solid. Do I revisit it all the time? No.
No, but I would certainly watch it again.
Am I happy when it's on? Yes. Thelma and Louise in the scene where they shoot that guy's truck.
Yeah, they're watching over us right now.
Yeah, are in my living room. I do have them up there just because, you need a little Geena Davis
Of course.
in the physical space always.
Exactly.
And thank you all for listening so much. This ends Good Movies Month, but we're moving on to the 80s. Next month, we will be talking all about 80s movies, not necessarily like quintessential 80s. As I have already spoiled, we will be covering Raising Arizona next week. Which is, I would not say
Not
quintessentially the 80s, but we just kind of felt like it.
Yeah.
We're only restricting ourselves to the 80s, and that is the only prerequisite for next month. So send in your favorite 80s picks, whether it be something iconic or more of a deep cut, whatever you feel, let us know. You can answer the Q&A on Spotify, or there's like a link now that says text us in the bio where you can like legit just send us a text message.
Please do.
I don't really know how it works. No one's done it so far, but through the distributor that we use, they're like, yeah, this is a new feature. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to turn it on.
Sure,
why not?
might as well.
I love a feature, a new feature.
Yeah.
So you can do that, or you can just DM us as always on our Instagram, Twitter. I was just about to say Facebook. Do we have a Facebook page? I don't think
we have a LinkedIn.
We have a LinkedIn, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Do not message us on LinkedIn. I do not check that.
Yeah, I haven't updated that in 2+ years.
We also have an email address if you just want to send us a good
send us an
old-fashioned
email.
business email.
Yeah, please. We love to get an email.
And we love you all. Thank you so much for listening. And commit to the bit, drive off the cliff, do the damn thing, and goodbye and good night.